So welcome to lesson 7, layer basics, or um, the basics of all layers. In this lesson, you'll learn to do the following: organize artwork on layers, create, hide, and select layers, rearrange layers in order to change the order of artwork in the photograph or digital image, and rotate layers, apply special effects and filters to layers, apply text to layers, adjust add adjustment layers, and save a copy of the file with layers flattened. So go ahead and go to lesson 7 and download the files, and open them up in Bridge, and you should have 3 files right here. Every photograph that you open in Photoshop contains at least one layer. Some have more. When you create a new layer, it's transparent until you add text or artwork. Individual layers can be edited, repositioned, deleted, and masked separately from other layers. The only layer that's different from the rest of the layers is the background layer because it's always completely opaque. There's no transparency in a background layer. Because photograph documents are intended for print, digital image cameras, or scanned images, they typically always have a background layer. Some file formats, such as JPEG or GIF, don't support layers. So to save those images with layers, you must save them in formats such as Photoshop or TIFF format. If you're going to save a JPEG or a GIF, you have to flatten the image first. Also, some color modes, such as bitmap or index color, don't support layers either. So we're going to start Photoshop, and we're going to open Skip on Green Layer 23. I'm going to right click, and we're going to open. And here's a picture of Skip on Green. I shot it on a green screen because it's easy to remove a subject on a green screen. In fact, most weather um, forecasts are done on a green screen or a blue screen. So the first thing we have to do is make it to the correct proportions. So click on the crop tool. It's the 4th one here, 5th one down. And we're going to select ratio and 5:7. And notice it's the wrong, it's vertical and you want it horizontal. So just hit these 2 arrows here and it'll change. So I want all of the photographs, so I'm just going to pull this down like here and snap it there. And notice that there's a little bit of white here, but that's okay. And then once we're done with that, we're just going to hit the check mark on the options bar or just double click inside the photograph. So we want to make this the same color as this here. So we'll go to the magic wand tool. The 4th one, right click on it, click on magic wand, and then we click in the white area here. And then I'm going to go to edit, fill, and I'm going to go content aware. So the reason you can do this several different ways. You can go to edit, content aware, fill, or just fill and content aware. The difference is The first one, the content aware fill, it'll ask you to select what you want to do. This one, I'm going to take its, I'm going to let the computer do its own. I'll go ahead and fill it, and then I'm going to just deselect, which is Control D on a PC or Command D on a Mac. So now the skip is the correct proportions that we want. Now we want to separate him from the background. So there's a kind of a new feature in the last couple versions that allows you to select the subject of the photo. So we're going to go to Select Subject. It'll analyze the photo and try to separate what it thinks the subject is. It'll do a really good job on this case because he's on green, so it can't get any easier for Photoshop in this case. Here it's selected it. Now we just need to check the kind of the weird edges. Now, in a couple versions ago, it wasn't very good. Um, it would make some errors. Like in this area here, I'm noticing there's a little bit here on this one. Um, but other than that, it looks pretty good. I'm looking around here. So let's just go fix that. And I just clicked the inside of the brush right there, and it selected it. Everything else looks pretty good. So once we're done with that, and you think everything looks good, we're gonna go down to this area in the layers panel down here and click on this. And it'll simply click and it'll make a layer. So everything that was selected, all the green, it will fix it. Now, I'm noticing a couple things because I'm a photographer and I've been doing this a long time, but I notice there's a little bit of green along the edges here. There's other ways of doing this better, but we're just doing it quick and dirty for this particular exercise, but we'll go over that more later. It's called decontaminate colors, and that's in the select and mask option. But right now, we don't need to do that. So now we're going to go back to Bridge, and we're going to open Fieldhouse Front. And here you have the Fieldhouse here. So we're going to click on this thumbnail, and we're going to drag it over to this, and we're going to drop it right on top of here. And here we have now two layers, skip on the bottom, the layer of the Fieldhouse on top. Because we want them the other way around, we just simply drag this up here and drop them on top here. I'm going to click on this layer and I'm going to move this layer up just a hair. Grab the move to layer and then move it up here. And if I really want to get creative, I could actually size it. proportionally the right size, make it look good, and then go ahead and double check or double click in the middle or check on the top. Now I'm going to click back on skip this layer right here so that I know which layer I'm on. So looking at this, the next thing we want to do is we're going to change the sky a little bit. So I'm going to make skip disappear. Then I'm going to click on layer 1, which is the field house. And actually, let's go ahead and just call it field house. So by renaming it, we can rename this one skip so we know which layer is which. So we click on the field house here, and then we're going to click on this quick selection tool. So this is this one here, and we're just going to select around and select around this so that we have the sky. Now, notice up here it's not super great. So I'm going to go close and hit the Alt key and it becomes a minus. And I'm going to minus this right here along the edge because I want the edge of this to be equal. I don't want it to go into the tower. And the same with this. You just have to make sure that if it's not doing what you're asking for to, make sure you have the field house layer selected, because if you're working with skip, it's going to be all over the place. I'm going to look on the edge here. Oh, I don't really like that. So I'm going to go here and minus around that and let it snap back. Yep. And that looks a lot better. So now that the sky is selected, we want to mask out everything. So under the selection section, we need to inverse it because we selected the sky, but we don't want the sky. We want everything else masked out. So click on the mask, and it'll mask out the sky there. So now, if we're going to make some clouds, we're going to put them in there, and it'll do it right. It'll do it behind there. So now we'll click on New Layer there. We're going to call it Sky, and I'm going to drag it behind the field house here. So there's a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you 2 different ways, and then I'm going to let you select which one you want to do. So I'm going to make this full size. So the first method we're going to do is we're going to select a blue color. So I'm going to double click on the foreground color, and I'm going to put in a specific color. I'm going to do red 48, green 138, and blue 174. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, making sure that the sky here is selected, the sky layer here, I'm going to go to the filter, then to render, and then to clouds. It'll make clouds like this. Okay? And that's one way to do it right there. So once you click on here, you can see clouds. Okay, the second way to do it is I find it looks a little bit more natural if you can catch the correct sky. But about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, they added this feature. So if you select the field house layer and you go under edit, it'll do sky replacement. Replacement is not going to be this one here. Most likely it's going to be something like this or something else. But just click on that downward arrow and select the sky that you like. Like if you like that sky, that looks good, or this sky, just kind of get something that kind of matches and doesn't look too like dramatic. Like this is too dark over here for this one. This one looks okay. This one probably looks probably about the best one. This one that's too dark. That one's probably a little bit too blue. That one looks fairly good. It's a little bit on the flat side. That one's probably good. So I just select that one. Then you can adjust the brightness and darkness of the photo. So if you think that something's a little bit too dark, like this one here, you could probably go in and adjust the brightness of it. Make it look a little bit better. I don't really like that sky that much. Or this one. That looks better. And you can adjust the color a little bit. So if you feel like it's a little too blue, you can adjust the color of the sky. Now, I believe this one has this part here, so I'm not going to use that one. In fact, you might even be able to, yeah, you can adjust it this way. So go ahead and just grab it how you want. Bring it down. That looks a little bit better to me. I'm going to hit OK. I think that looks pretty slick there. Now you'll notice that all the adjustment panels or layers are all here. You can see what you did. I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck this one because this one's behind it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the logo. Now, if you have the marquee selected around the layer, go ahead and hit Control D so nothing's selected. Make sure skip is the skip layer is selected, and then we'll go to Bridge, open the logo. We'll click on the logo. The little thumbnail of it. Make sure it's the thumbnail. Drag it over to skip on green, and we're going to drop it in place. Now it's going to be huge. The first thing we need to do is we need to modify this and transform it to smaller. So I'm going to hold on the little box on the side and bring it down so that it's smaller. And it needs to be about 30%. So once you get close, I'm just going to manually type in 30 here. 30, and then it looks good right there. So I'm going to pull it, and I want it to give it a little bit of air around there. So I think skip's just a little bit too big, so we can adjust the size of skip as well. Because what I'm going to do is I want to put skip um, in front of this. So we're going to drag this layer behind skip. Now I think skip's too big and he's blocking a little bit of it, so we can just resize the skip layer. So then we click on skip, go to edit, transform, scale, and then we'll scale skip just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to move skip over just a hair so that his fingers are just touching inside the logo. Gives it a kind of a three dimensional feel, like he's above it. And then once we're done, just hit the check mark up here or double check inside it. And then I'm going to go back to the logo layer. I'm going to rename the logo layer logo. So we have it. And then I'm going to click on the move tool and I'm going to move it just slightly so that it's not crowding. Then it looks a lot better that way, I think. So next we're going to add some words down here because we're making a postcard. So we're going to click on the horizontal type tool, which is right here. And we're going to pick a font. And I'm going to pick Impact because I feel like it looks a lot like a stencil font, kind of a sport font. And I'm going to select this one. And I'm going to make it bigger. So right now it's 51.12 size. I'm going to make it 145 point. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to type in welcome. And look what I did. I made a weird color. It's the color of the sky. So I forgot to actually change the color. So I'll just highlight it all, double click on it, double click on here. And I'm going to select the official SE4 color, which is the hex code is 002 C4F. Hit enter. And then when we unclick on it, it's the blue of SE4. So the next step is I'm going to adjust the type a little bit with some type effects. So we make sure that the welcome layer is selected, and we're going to click on effects. And we're going to select bevel and emboss right here. It's okay if you don't select the right one because you can always go over here and change it. Right now, bevel and emboss is what we selected, so that's the one that's checkmark. And then I'm going to the style inner bevel because then the bevel will be on the inside as opposed to the outside, making the font not bigger. The outside would make it bigger. The inside just keeps it the same size. Technique would be smooth. Direction is up. Size, I put at 50 because I want a huge bevel. Soften at 0. Angle, I'll put the angle at 30, which is fine. Altitude at 30. Using global light. The highlight screen mode is screen, or highlight mode is screen. The opacity is 50%. The shadow mode is multiply, and opacity is 50. Next, we're going to select the word stroke right here. So this is now going to deal with the stroke. So the stroke should be 27, which gives it a stroke around the edge. See how it adds black? technique, or blend mode, I'm sorry, inside, position inside, blend mode normal, opacity. We're going to knock the opacity down to about 59%, not 100. So then it gives a little bit of a transparent feel. The fill type is color. Color is black. Once we're done with that, we're going to select pattern overlay and check mark that. Okay. We make sure that it's checked so you see it. There you go. So blend mode is normal. Opacity is 21%. Then we're going to click the down arrow, click on water, and we're going to select one of the water patterns. And I'm going to just do this first one. Go back, angle is 0, link with layer, and once we're done with that, we hit OK. So then we'll click back on the skip layer again here. We're back on skip. And next we're going to click on that tool again. And right underneath here, we're going to say 2 SC4, but I want to change this font size to 120. And so we click on here and we'll say 2 SC4 exclamation point. And we'll just move this down. So we want to match all this stuff. So one of the things that first thing I want to do is I'm going to double click on this and I'm going to double click on the color and I'm going to change the color to yellow, SC4 yellow. So that's FFCD00 and enter. So now it's the SC4 color. I'm going to double click on this again. And I want the effects from welcome to affect to SC4. So if we click on the effects and we hold down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on the PC, we can drag the effects to another layer. It'll add the same exact effects. And I say, oh my gosh, that looks horrible. Which is fine. So I feel like the stroke is way, way, way too big. So all we have to do is double click on the stroke. It'll bring it up, and then we can make that adjustment. So from size 27, let's make it 15. Inside, normal, opacity. If we make opacity 0, what happens? It becomes very, very light. So I like that a lot better. And the color is black. And hit OK, and yay, that looks a lot better. I love that much better than, well, I don't love it, but I like it a lot better than the other. So the last thing we're going to do is I feel like the logo looks really flat. So let's find the logo layer, click here, and we'll click on the FX, and we're going to select Outer Glow. And again, it doesn't matter because we could always select it later on if you select the wrong one. So we'll make blend. We're going to make the blend normal. Opacity, 100%. Noise, 10%. And then we're going to make the color SC4 blue. So that's 00. C4F. Hit OK. Technique, we're going to make it precise. Spread 0. Size, we're going to make size 51% pixels. See how it just suddenly have an outer glow on it? You can now see it. And then the jitter at 0. And then once you're done, hit OK. So that brings the like a glow around the logo. It makes it look less flat. If the logo is too close to the top, feel free to use the move tool. That's this top one, and you can move it down just a hair. Give it a little bit of air space. So once that's done, make sure you can see it all. I think it looks pretty good. Actually, maybe move it up just a hair so it doesn't crowd the home of right here. So go ahead and admire it, and we will save this. So go ahead and save this as a JPEG. So we'll go File, Save a Copy, and pull down the file type and select JPEG right here. And we'll highlight the name and save it as lesson 7 underscore postcard.jpg. And go ahead and save it right in lesson 7 and turn this image in. So that's layers, basic layer. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you again next week. Have a great week.